everybody, my name is Stefan. I'm one of the developers of the Just Trains Railjet Advanced, and in this video I'll be trying to answer some questions that have popped up during beta testing and also in the forums. At the end of the video I would also like to talk a bit about the future of this product. Some people have asked us whether we are planning to further develop the product and asked specific questions about whether we add train X, Y to the package or not. So I'll be trying to give you a bit of a preview of what is planned in the future. As mentioned in previous videos, whenever you want to pull away, you first have to unlock the power lever, and you do this by pressing it down. And we've decided to assign the key E to press the lever down. So in order to pull away, you first have to press E and then A, and then the train starts driving. If you then drive along, it's the usual A for accelerate and D for decelerate. And if you go to the 0 position and press D again, you're back in the locked position. So the Roadrunner is the system that tells you when the last carriage has passed a particular point. And you may have noticed that for that we also have used the key E. And this is because the Roadrunner is actually activated by pressing down the lever twice. So it is in effect the same lever and the same animation, and therefore it is the same keystroke. Right, as explained before, this train has two different door operating systems. If you go to the back panel, you have this switch here, and it gives you the opportunity to change between the two systems. As the Railjet is an Austrian train, by default you should always go to ÖBB, meaning that you're pulling Austrian carriages. So how does it all work? You open the doors normally by pressing T, and you'll see that the blue symbol here for T will go yellow, meaning that the doors are open. Right, the doors have closed and we will be ready to depart. However, as you can see, the T for door is still orange, meaning that we could not pull away even if we wanted to. In addition, you can hear a clicking noise. This means that the doors are indeed closed, but they're not locked. This will have to be done manually, and you do so by moving this lever into the upright position. Now you have to wait until this symbol has gone blue, and only then will you be able to pull away, because it means the doors are closed and locked. Hello and welcome. Get the train ready for departure. Scheduled time of departure is 17:45. Now this is actually a scenario included in the package, and this is based on a real-world schedule. So your job here is to drive a Railjet double unit from Feldkirch to Bregenz on the 3-country corner route. Then you uncouple the rear unit and drive the front unit to Lindau. Lindau has fairly short platforms, so they cannot accommodate a double unit, and therefore only the front will carry on to Lindau. And this is exactly what happens in the real world as well. So the question that some beta testers had here is, how does this work? How can I set up the train when there's a double unit, and how do I know when am I in the correct cab? So let's have a look at that. First of all, let's have a look at the train itself. You can see there's the 175 unit. Then we have a so-called police Taurus, pulling a standard unit. This kind of combination has actually existed in the real world, hence that's what I put together. It's a very long train. Luckily we have some very long platforms in Austria. So how do we start up? Let's jump into the loco. So here's the loco, and as always we press 1. And as always we end up in cab 1, just as we should, which on the Railjet is facing backwards. Everything you do in this locomotive will be done automatically in the locomotive in the middle of the train. So they are slaved together. So you don't need to worry about the other locomotive. You just do everything here and it'll all work out fine. So as usual, you turn around, you switch on the battery switch, and you select the pantograph, which on the Railjet is number 1. There we are. Turn around. Now, the usual procedure would be to press Control plus, and that would take us into the front part of the locomotive. Now, the problem is the way Train Simulator works, it will actually now sequence us into the wrong direction, if you like. So if I press Control plus, as you can see, I'm not in the loco anymore. I'm in the driving trailer. You can actually tell if you're not sure whether you're in a driving trailer or a loco and you're just in the cab. As you can see here, the loco has a pillar in the middle. It has 2 windows, whilst the driving trailer has 1 large window. To me, that's the most obvious sign that will tell you where you are. So this is obviously not the cab where we want to be. So we press Control 1 again, and now we are in a loco, but in the rear one. So again, press Control plus, Control plus. Now we are pointing, this is the back of the train, so we're pointing in the wrong direction. And finally, we are where we belong, in the loco, pointing towards Lindau. And once we've done all that, we can just start with the startup procedure. Now remember that all of this is only necessary if the locomotive is at the front of the train. If you jump into a driving trailer, driving trailers only have 1 cab, so there's none of this jumping around. And the only reason why we have to jump through so many cabs before we are in the correct one is purely because there are 2 trains coupled together, and Train Simulator thinks when you are in the rear facing cab that you want to move further to the back. And that's really all that's to it. So as before, we start up the train, get everything ready and pull away, and it works just like a single unit. Included in the package is a large number of repaints of the Taurus locomotive. Now, the Taurus locomotive is used to pull pretty much anything from freight trains, intercities, Eurocities to regional trains. We have one of the repaints here, and it's pulling some double-decker Austrian carriages. These are not included in the package, by the way, but if you go to the Railworks Austria pages, you'll find a large selection of Austrian rolling stock, all for free, and they fit the train and the loco perfectly. So how do we start up? Actually, this is easier than the Railjet. If we press 1, you will find yourself in the forward facing cab, and if you look up, you'll see that this is already cab 1, which means we do not have to switch cabs. You just turn around, once again switch on the battery and select the pantograph. Now in this case, because the loco is actually the other way around, we select pantograph 2, and then you turn around again and you start the startup procedure, and after that you can just set off and leave. You don't need to swap cabs, you don't need to do anything else. So it's actually fairly straightforward, and this applies to every situation where you pull anything but the Railjet. Right, this is the question where I need to be a bit careful. Yes, we most definitely would like to further develop the Railjet, and yes, we are working on new features, but please bear in mind that we are already operating on the limit of what Train Simulator allows us to do. We did have a very long list of features right from the start, some of which we actually had to abandon because they weren't possible to implement. So we're a bit careful with what we're going to tell you here, simply because we don't want you to be disappointed. There is one thing though I can reveal. The ÖBB have recently introduced a brand new railjet called the ÖFB Railjet, which is a railjet promoting football in Austria. It's a very pretty train, very nice livery, but not only that, it has a new carriage. It has a carriage which has a bicycle stand at the back. And yes, we would very much like to introduce this train into the package and pass it on to all our customers as a free update. It's not as straightforward as you might think. We're in talks with someone to get us high resolution textures, and also of course we need to find some kind of plans to see where exactly those bike stands are. Need to get some pictures of those and then build a new carriage around those plans and pictures. But yes, it is something we would like to introduce, and like I said, it will most definitely be a free update. And if we in the meantime also come up with some new features or improvements, then most certainly we will pass them on to you. And yeah, that's really all I can say for the time being, but watch this space.